Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're taking literally everything you've ever been taught about social survival and we're flipping it completely upside down. You know how society is always telling us to be perfectly honest, endlessly humble, and totally transparent? Well, what if the very things we're told to suppress, our darker, slightly more Machiavellian traits, are actually the secret to our greatest success? Today, we're cracking open the playbook of human nature to explore some highly unconventional strategies for mastering the modern jungle.
Let's dive right into this somewhat uncomfortable truth straight from author Robert Greene. We live in a world that never ever stops broadcasting, right? Everyone is constantly sharing their every waking thought. But Greene argues that your mouth is actually, very often, your absolute biggest enemy.
Look at the stark difference in how we actually perceive communication out in the real world. Yabbering and oversharing, they don't make you look smart. They just signal a massive lack of self-control. It creates this fundamentally unpowerful aura because, let's be honest, the more you talk, the more prone you are to saying something stupid or irrational that you're definitely going to regret later. But on the flip side, powerful people, they let others argue. And when they finally do speak, it's often a little bit ambiguous. This strategic silence creates an undeniable aura of power. It projects total mystery and absolute control.
To really grasp this contrarian approach, we've got a 5-step playbook for mastering this modern jungle. We're going to cover 1, the power of saying less, 2, the necessity of narcissism, 3, the fact that we are all actors, 4, navigating the modern jungle, and finally 5, the trap of early success.
So let's formally kick things off with rule number 1, the power of saying less, or mastering the tongue.
A lot of people actually have a really hard time with this. They think, hey, shouldn't I just be authentic and say whatever I'm feeling? Well, no, not if you actually want to survive. If you can't control your tongue, you're sending a loud, clear signal to everyone around you that you probably can't control anything else in your life either. It's a massive liability. Learning to say less than necessary is a deliberate, highly defensive strategy, and it's one that will save you an incredible amount of pain and keep you out of a ton of unnecessary trouble.
Which brings us right to our second survival skill, Rule 2, the necessity of narcissism and channeling your ego.
Now, we usually view narcissism as this purely evil thing, right? But consider the concept of healthy narcissism. Think about someone like Steve Jobs. He was notoriously aggressive, highly assertive, and honestly, an absolute control freak. But he took all that massive narcissistic energy and he funneled it into creating beautiful, world-changing things that actually contributed to humanity. Greene points out that even the most saintly figures in history, we're talking Mahatma Gandhi or Martin Luther King Jr., they had definite narcissistic tendencies. There are literally no pure saints in this world. The secret isn't denying your ego, it's about getting off your high horse, admitting you have these traits, and consciously channeling them into your work.
Moving on, Rule 3 totally shatters the modern illusion of constant authenticity. It's the idea that we are all actors, mastering the innate art of manipulation.
We really like to think of manipulation as this terrible moral failing of adulthood. But the truth is, you've been a consummate actor, playing a role to survive literally since you were a toddler. Just think back to when you were 3 years old. You cried specifically to manipulate your parents into giving you attention. As a kid, you figured out pretty fast that acting like an absolute angel got you exactly what you wanted from your mom, even if you knew you weren't actually being an angel. And in adulthood, come on, you're constantly telling your boss exactly what they want to hear.
So the crucial point here is this. You are never, ever the exact same person with 2 different people. Your body language completely changes in front of your dad compared to your son. The jokes you tell change. You hedge your true feelings in front of your colleagues just so everyone can get along. If we all walked around saying exactly what we felt 100% of the time, we'd all be unemployed and friendless by now. Admitting that you unconsciously manipulate your image is actually incredibly freeing. It allows you to play the game consciously, exactly when you need to.
And here's where it gets absolutely fascinating. As an actor in the modern world, you have to learn how to do 2 things at the exact same time. Outwardly, you present a facade. You're compliant, you're loyal, and you make absolutely sure you never outshine the master so you don't get fired. But inwardly, you maintain this fierce, unapologetic ambition. In your own head, you can look at your boss and say, you know what? They aren't better than me. They're actually kind of incompetent. I'm just going to learn from them until I surpass them. You play the game outwardly, but you never ever internalize a sense of inferiority inwardly. Because if you actually start believing you're inferior, it's going to haunt you for the rest of your life.
Now we take those acting skills
And enter Rule 4, navigating the modern jungle and surviving the workplace.
Let me pose a quick scenario for you. Imagine you're a researcher digging up these amazing facts, or a comedy writer crafting hilarious jokes for a huge late-night broadcast. Suddenly, a powerful person takes all your brilliant work and just slaps their own name right on it. Nobody ever hears your name. So, what's your next move?
Now, society tells you to be completely outraged, but let's look at your options. If you whine, act resentful, and cause a huge scene as an underling, people are honestly just going to laugh at you, and you'll make a terrible fool of yourself. Powerful people have used the labor of others to make themselves look powerful for literally centuries. The strategic adult recognizes this as simply the law of the jungle. You calm down, you don't take it personally, and you play the long game until you are the one in power. If you go in naive to how the world actually operates, you're in for a world of pain.
Finally, let's explore Rule 5, the trap of early success, and why pressure is actually a privilege.
Let's look at human motivation through the lens of evolutionary biology for a second. The human brain evolved under immense pressure, dodging leopards, surviving starvation, just figuring out how to stay alive. Greene likens this to barometric pressure inside the brain. When pressure is high, like when you absolutely have to get a project done or you'll fail, you suddenly have this massive energy. You accomplish months of work in mere days. But if you take that pressure away, your energy completely dissipates. You wander around feeling lost, wasting your life away on video games or endless distractions. Stress and pressure aren't the enemy. Being completely bored and unchallenged is what will actually destroy you.
And this perfectly explains the specific trap of early success. If you hit it big in your 20s before you've ever had a real chance to fail, you lack the discipline and the perspective to actually handle it. Suddenly, everyone around you is telling you that you're an absolute genius. And because everything is easy and everyone loves you, you have no enemies and no real opposition. Without that resistance to push against, your brain just turns to mush. You become soft. Having doubters and facing harsh, stressful deadlines might feel crushing in the moment, but it's exactly what makes you a much better fighter.
This is exactly why timing matters so much. The author himself, Robert Greene, didn't achieve his massive breakout success until he was 39 years old. Before that, he faced failure after failure. But because he'd been beaten down so many times, when success finally did come, he didn't get drunk on it. He didn't delusionally think he just had the golden touch. He knew firsthand exactly how quickly things could turn, and that kept him strategic, careful, and always on his toes.
So, what you should really take away from this explainer is that the world operates on these hidden laws. The sheer power of strategic silence, the necessity of channeling your ego, the undeniable reality that we are all actors, and the profound privilege of working under pressure. These tools might be controversial, and they for sure aren't what you learned in grade school. But now that you can see the jungle for what it really is, the only question left is, are you ready to consciously play the game, or will you walk through life blindly and let the game play you?